UFC 317, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira is in the books, and after an explosive pay-per-view main card, we're going to recap it as well as make some match make for some of the main players on that pay-per-view card moving forward. And let's go and take a look at the card. We're going to start right at the beginning. Peyton Talbot taking out Felipe Lima. A very, very interesting fight. Talbot coming off a loss as a minus 1,500 favorite. Came to this one as a betting underdog at plus 150. A lot of questions of how would he deal with the grappling from Felipe Lima. Early on, Lima was arguably getting the better of the striking exchanges, but Talbot showed such advances in his game, controlling the fight on the ground, getting some takedowns of his own, reversing, controlling, clearly winning rounds 2 and 3, in my opinion. Round 1 up in the air, depends on how you want to go with it. But Peyton Talbot back in the win column, a pseudo dominant bounce back performance they really needed. Felipe Lima, I think if he would have just stuck on the feet a little bit longer instead of trying to force the grappling and the takedowns, he might have had a little bit more luck. But Talbot was on his P's and Q's for this game. Next up for Peyton Talbot, I don't want to push him too far up again. I don't want to just set him back up off a win to get knocked right back down. But I do want to get him somebody with a little bit extra, I don't little name variety, if that makes sense. Someone with a little bit more to their name, someone that can maybe help him out a little bit more. I don't mind the idea of him and Saeed Nurmagomedov. Maybe even someone like Gene Matsumoto, somewhere like that's like some good fighters that have good records but aren't overwhelming. And Charles Jordan's another one that comes into mind who just lost to Felipe Lima. So I think that's actually like that one the most is Charles Jordan versus Peyton Talbot. I think that's a very good matchup. Or there's always the ace in the hole. You can match up with Cody Garbrandt, who's unfortunately on a very downward slide. Still, you know what? We're going to retrack all that. Peyton Talbot, Cody Garbrandt. Garbrandt has all the experience in the world to a huge step up for Talbot. But with Talbot's skill set, his length, his power, Garbrandt, he has the speed and the power still, but he's gonna try and force a brawl. He's on the downward slide. Let's get those two matched up. Give Peyton Talbot a big name to kind of bounce back for, but a very winnable fight to bounce back for as well. And as far as for Felipe Lima, Adrian Yanez, I think, is a pretty good matchup. I mean, Yanez coming off a close split decision loss to Daniel Marcos back in December. Their timelines should somewhat match up. I don't think neither one took massive amounts of damage. So I think you can line that one up in the next few months, somewhere on a fight night or a prelim, something like that. Yanez has lost 3 of his last 4. So this is like he needs a big win right now. So I think that could be a good matchup with him, prospect to prospect, that sort of thing. So let's do Talbot versus Garbrandt and Felipe Lima versus Adrian Yanez. Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. I thought this one was going to play out exactly what I was thinking right away. Like after Moicano dropped Dariush early on in the first round or late in the first round, I thought that was it. I thought he's going to finish him on the ground. I was worried that as Dariush is getting older that we were going to see, all right, a lot of these shots, they actually start to do a lot more damage. They add up a lot more over time. It's harder to bounce back, but he did a good job. He bounced back. He blitzed Moicano to start round 2, forcing the grappling where he was just significantly stronger. He was just much stronger. You could tell he was just so much stronger in those clinch, in those grappling situations, had full control of it. So I ending up winning rounds 2 and 3, gassing out Moicano and really taking it to him. I think if we're looking at it for, excuse me, if we're looking at it for Beneil Dariush, he's sitting at around the rank number 9 spot, so I don't know if he goes up or down too much. I'm not trying to propel him up too high, but maybe you could put him in there with Gamrot or Fiziev to get. I think one of those two guys kind of ranked in the same general vicinity as him, I think is a very, very good fight for him. That way, it gives him a chance to continue to kind of be in that same ranking area, but we're not throwing him up. We're not throwing up there too high. As far as Renato Money Moicano, back-to-back losses. Obviously, the loss on 24 hours notice. Won't hold that too much against him, but I think either Benoit Saint Denis or Michael Chandler, I think, are some two very good fights because you still are giving him some quote unquote more money type fights, guys with a little bit of name value, especially Michael Chandler, who he's dropped 3 in a row and sat out 2 years waiting for the Conor McGregor show. He needs money, quote unquote. Moicano won 4 in a row going into that Islam Makhachev fight and has now dropped 2. So I think that's a good fight for both of them to get back on track. It'll be probably 12 versus 13, give or take, in the rankings. So I think it makes sense for both of them. Beneil Dariush, you know what? I still do kind of like that matchup. I like to give him Fiziev. They're both coming off wins. Fiziev had a 3-fight skid before that, that recent win over, what is his name? Bahamadonis, Ignacio Bahamadonis. I think that's the fight to make for him is let's give Dariush Fiziev. Then let's go and give Moicano Iron Michael Chandler. Just from name value alone, I think those two could be a good, maybe a curtain jerker for a better stacked pay-per-view. We'll have to see. We haven't got a whole lot of those. Or maybe a co-main event for a pretty good fight night. We'll see for sure. But let's move up next. We have Brandon Royval taking on Joshua Van. And oh my goodness, flyweight fireworks. Predicted it would be fireworks, but didn't expect that. No takedown sense. I actually did. I'm sorry to those who took the bets. I thought it'd be under 97 significant strikes. He more than doubled that. My bad on that one. I thought it would be Royval landing a lot more of those pop, pop, pops, and you get out of the way of a lot of Van. I thought Van would maybe 1-2, not 1-2-3-4. I didn't realize they were going to each land north of 200 strikes in what might be fight of the year so far. Both of them, absolutely incredible performances. We're going to start with Brandon Royval. I kind of want to see him honestly go up to bantamweight. I think he's still going to be probably ranked number 2. He's already fought Pantoja coming off the loss to Van. I think it's a little bit difficult, more of a path to the title. And I think with his size, his length, and his style at 35, he can make some noise. You could bump him up there and immediately give him somebody like Chito Vera, Song Yadong, Divas, and Figueiredo, somewhere like that. Get him right in the mix of it right away. I think that will actually help him. His record's very misleading because he is very, very good. There's a lot of close losses, but his style, his output, his cardio, I think at 35 could be even better. Then for Joshua Van, they brought him in the cage. They basically all but said him and Pantoja is next. I get it. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I want for Pantoja here in a minute, but I want to give Van one more fight before the title. I want to see him maybe take Benel Cap, Alex Perez, just anybody, maybe even Brandon Moreno, just one more fight to get that nudge, even if it's somebody that's going to be below him, because he's going to probably be ranked number 1. I get him with fighting Pantoja. It makes sense. It's fresh blood. He's exciting. He's dynamic. The hands go 1,000 miles an hour. So many significant strikes. He does so many things well. I get it. That being said, I still selfishly just want to see one more fight because we're going to move on now to the co-main event. Alexandre Pantoja taking on Kai Kara France. Absolute, pure, utter domination. This one, Pantoja did hit us our bet with those 3 takedowns. The sub attempts, he blitzed him on the feet out of the gate, controlled him. Kai, this is why we need to have title challengers need to start having at least a 2-fight win streak or more. We can't get them coming off of being 1-2 in their last 3. We can't be doing this anymore. God, Pantoja controlled it basically pillar to post. Even when Pantoja was slowing down, he was in full control and got the 3rd round submission. He's a whole nother animal on the ground. He's on another world with a lot of these guys right now, which is why the fight for him, I want it. I want to see him and Merab. I want that super fight, dang it. I know a lot of people have been talking about it. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I brought it up after Merab's last fight. I get it. There's no incentive to, but they've both have cleaned out so much of their division. You can look at the top of both of them. Merab's beat Sean, Umar, Piotr. He's beat all those guys. He's beat some multiple times. Pantoja's beat Moreno, Royval, Kai Kara. Now they've cleaned out so much, and it's like kind of a spot where you can make this, and it's not going to slow up the divisions. It gives Van a chance to put a stamp on his number 1 contender fight. It gives Piotr Jan as well as Umar, Corey Sandhagen, those guys to get that one more fight to stamp their title shot as well. So I think this would be a great opportunity. Pantoja, Merab, super fight. You can make that a main event with a co-main event of like a big name guy who's not a title holder, something like that. That could just really boost it. But this is an outstanding fight. The grappling of both of them so vastly different, colliding in the middle of the cage. I think it's going to be incredibly high level. I would love to see it, which is why I want to see Van fight somebody else in the meantime. Punch that ticket so it say he gets an outstanding win over somebody else in the top 3. Let's say Van takes out, just for example, Manel Cap, who's also right in the mix of it. Gets that victor over Manel Cap. He is undeniable. Him and Pantoja, regardless of what happens in that Pantoja-Merab fight, is absolutely electric. Merab goes through all that. Let's say Peter Yan emerges out of the rough at 35. Merab and Peter Yan, too, is outstanding as well. Gives both these guys a chance for their divisions to flesh out a bit, and we get an incredible fight that's stylistically is going to be incredible. I would love to see it. So please, I know we don't do super fights as much as we should anymore, but if we do, it requires a belt or something. Make it a catchweight fight at 140 or something, or sorry, not 140, 130, or have Pantoja just fight him at 135, no belt on the line, or put the belt on the line. I don't care. Just make it happen. I think that's an incredible fight. As for Kai Kara France, 1-3 now. I think he does have to take a step back. This could be one. Maybe you give him Joshua Van, but I don't really like that idea necessarily. Maybe Alex Perez, Asu Almabayev. He's already beat Steve Ercik. That's maybe Tatsuro Taira. He doesn't have to go too far back. Maybe Kai Asakura. I think that'd be an interesting one. Kai Asakura, Kai Kara France. I mean, just on name value, that just on the names alone, that's fun. But I think take a step back in the rankings, get a couple of fight wins, see if you can maybe work your way back in this one. Next up, the main event. My goodness, Ilia Topuria with absolute dynamite in his hands, putting Charles Oliveira basically on the crucifix, completely almost having the mounted crucifix on the ground and completely starching him on the feet with that in tight 2-3. Established the jab early, controlled the fight out of the gate. Charles goes for the takedown, and Ilia, with good base, good hip control, lands on top, passes the guard like butter. As soon as Charles Oliveira starts to get a little bit of momentum on the ground, Ilia just gets out of there comfortably. Not a concern in the world. On the feet, even when Charles would land a couple of shots here or there, Ilia was completely unfazed, throwing his shots. Couldn't just completely confident, completely cool, collected, and then arguably one of the knockouts of the year so far. Absolute nope. Charles has lost some fights by TKO. He's lost by submission. He's never been starched. He's never been completely flatlined, horizontal to the ground like that. That was almost terrifying how he did that. It was incredible display. His fights, his opponents continue to grow and he continues to perform better. He has arguably the best 3-fight streak in UFC history when you look at Volkanovski, featherweight GOAT, one of the top pound for pound fighters of all time. Max Holloway, a featherweight GOAT, one of the top pound for pound of all time. Now Charles Oliveira, lightweight champion, featherweight contender, one of the best of all time, and 3 Hall of Famers, all by progressively more impressive KO. Charles Oliveira, hate to see that. He's still, I think, no one hates Charles Oliveira. Even Ilia was saying, like, I hate that it has to be you. He's an incredible fighter. I hated to see him go out like that, but he is the new breed, as he says. He is that guy. He is the next generation. He has the Conor McGregor hype power with wrestling and a lot more refined technical skill, as well as, like I mentioned, the grappling, the cardio. Still has the same confidence and that touch of death, and it carried to the next weight class. He's landing it in tight. It's like the super tight hooks. It's not wild overhands. It's not count stepping back left. It's right in the fire, tight and in close boxing. It might be the best in the game, but for Ilia, they did the weird thing with Paddy Pimblett. I get it. Joe Rogan, for some reason, thought when Ilia was making fun of Arman in his back, he thought it was Paddy. Brought him in there. We had an uncomfortably not an okay stare down back and forth. Whatever. I don't want that fight next. I still feel like Paddy needs a fight. Somebody give him Gaethje, Arman, give him Arman in the meantime. Let those two fight it out for the number 1 contender spot. Arman, after pulling out of that last fight the day of, he should not get a title fight yet. He needs one more. It's been 6 months. We need to get him in there. Those two, let them fight each other and figure it out. I'm gonna say, I know Islam was totally fighting for 170. I know it's Jack Della Maddalena for next round. I want them to say, screw that. You are fighting Ilia right now. That is the fight to make. That is the biggest fight the company can make right now with active fighters on the roster. Even more than Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall. I think that is the fight to make. With Islam has that sense of invincibility right now. Ilia has that sense of invincibility. They're combined 37-1 or something like that. Something ridiculous. That's the fight to make. Try and coax him to go back down. He won't do it. But that's the fight I think a lot of people want. That's the common one. I don't think it's going to happen right now. I think Islam's going to stick to his guns. If I was told 170, I've already beat up enough featherweights, quote unquote, even though this is a completely different scenario, but I digress. So I'm going to say in that case, just give him Justin Gaethje. Gaethje is saying, you know what, I know Ilia said he wants new blood in there. I get that. Gaethje's saying he's going to retire if he doesn't get a shot. I get that. It's not the best of practice, but at this point, if you're the UFC, you really want Ilia to win another fight, and you want Islam, regardless of what happens, you want to make that fight next. Ideally, Islam beats JDM. Then we have Ilia versus Islam for at 170. In the meantime, if you give him Justin Gaethje, that makes sense. It's a very winnable fight for Ilia. It's almost it's a guaranteed fireworks because they're firing missiles. Both that fight that is under 1.5. That might be under half a round with the way they both throw punches. Absolute nukes in both of their hands. I guess that makes sense. Arman and Paddy should fight for that number 1 contender spot. We'll see what happens with Holloway Poirier. Maybe work that one around too. Get Dan Hooker in the mix. There's some sorting out to be done there. So I think lightweight's very fun at the top. As for Oliveira, just damn man, I hate seeing that. I hated seeing that. I want to get him back. Him and Dan Hooker is a good one as well. Get something for both of them. I want him to take some time off. He is older. I know he only has a smaller window, but he's actually fought so many of these guys too. He's fought Gaethje. He's fought Holloway before, although they can make that fight again because it's been so long. So if Holloway beats Poirier, that might be a good one as well. Hooker's an option. Poirier's retiring. He's already fought Arman, but I still think Arman and Pimblet is the fight to make. But I think maybe even give Oliveira even a bigger step back. Maybe even go down to like the Moicanos, the Fizievs, Dariush maybe. I know there'll be some rematches in there, but I don't hate the idea of him and Dan Hooker or him and Max Holloway if Holloway gets by Poirier. So there's a lot of really good fights to make. Ilia basically stamping his ticket as the biggest superstar in the sport right now, arguably right up there with I think the Tom Aspinalls of the world. But those are some of the matches I think would be incredible to make after UFC 317. Let us know down in the comments below what matches you want to see and who do you think beats Ilia at this point? He's undefeated. He's getting progressively better and more impressive with each one. Let us know down below who you think is the guy to take the O and beat him. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all again next time.